All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about something really tough, the survivor's journey through narcissistic abuse. It's this wild, confusing path that starts out feeling like a fairy tale, but, well, it can turn into something much darker. We're going to break down how it happens, the mind games they play, and, most importantly, how you can find your way back to yourself and start healing.
You know that feeling, that deep in your gut sense that something is just off? You're constantly second-guessing yourself, replaying conversations in your head, wondering, wait, am I the problem here? It's absolutely exhausting, and it can make you feel so alone.
And I really need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not crazy. What you're feeling, what you're going through, it has a name. It's a real, recognized pattern of emotional manipulation. And just knowing that, well, that's the first step out of the fog. You're not making this up. So how does something like this even start? Well, here's the tricky part. It almost never starts with red flags. Nope, it usually starts with the complete opposite. It feels like you've hit the jackpot, like you finally met the one. But this amazing first stage, it's a setup.
It's a tactic called lovebombing. And you got to understand, this isn't really about love. It's about creating an addiction. They flood you with so much attention, so much affection, that you get hooked on that high. The whole point is to make you dependent on them fast.
And this is what makes it so hard to see at the time, because it feels incredible, right? But the telltale sign isn't just the attention, it's the speed and the intensity. The endless texts, the talk of being soulmates on like week 2. It's all designed to feel like a movie, but what it's really doing is building a cage.
And then, once they know you're hooked, things start to change. It's subtle at first. A little jab here, a cold shoulder there. The person who puts you on a pedestal starts to look for cracks. This is what's known as the devaluation stage. And it's where the dream starts to crumble.
Sound familiar? This is what it sounded like at the beginning. Pure adoration. They built you up, made you feel like the most special person on the planet. This was the drug they got you hooked on.
And then the script completely flips. All of a sudden, your normal feelings are too much. You're too sensitive. See what's happening? They're taking your reactions to their behavior and making it your fault. It's a slow, deliberate chipping away at your self-worth.
And they do it slowly, on purpose. It's a slow burn, so you don't notice the water getting hotter. You end up trying harder and harder to get back to that perfect beginning, but you can't because the instability is the whole point. It keeps you off balance and easier to control.
So, how do they do it? How do they keep you in this state of confusion? Well, it turns out there's a whole playbook of tactics they use. These are specific psychological games designed to warp your sense of reality.
And the number one tool in that playbook? Gaslighting. This is the big one. It's where they systematically make you doubt your own mind, your memory, your feelings, your sanity. The end goal is to make you stop trusting yourself and rely only on their version of reality. Let's just break this down. When they say you're imagining things, what they're really saying is, your reality is wrong, mine is right. When they flat out deny something they said, they're trying to break your memory. And the classic, it was just a joke, that's just a free pass to be cruel and then blame you for getting hurt.
Oh, and it doesn't stop there. They'll use triangulation, bringing someone else into the mix, maybe an ex, to make you feel insecure. They'll never ever take responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else's fault. And maybe the most dangerous of all, they'll try to isolate you. Because if you're alone, you're so much easier to control.
Eventually, the cycle often ends with the discard phase. And I know this part is incredibly painful, it's brutal. But it's also, paradoxically, where your chance to break free truly begins.
The discard is just devastatingly cold. It's sudden, it's cruel, and there's usually no real closure. They just move on. And they move on so fast because you were never a partner to them. You were a source of supply. And you can bet they've already lined up a new one before they let you go.
So where do you go from here? The path to freedom starts with a few key steps. First, just recognizing it for what it was. This was abuse and it was not your fault. Second, boundaries. Learning to say no is a superpower. And third, if you can, go no contact. It's not about being mean. It's about giving your brain and your heart the quiet space they desperately need to heal. Now, getting out is one thing, but rebuilding, that's where the real magic happens. This is the part of the journey where you stop just surviving and you start actively forging your own freedom piece by piece.
And a huge part of that is rebuilding your self-esteem. It means learning to trust your gut again. It means catching that critical voice in your head and replacing it with something kinder. Reconnect with the people who truly love you.
And look, healing isn't a straight line. You'll have bad days. That's okay. The important thing is to be on your own side.
I want you to really let this sink in. Going through something like this is one of the hardest things a person can endure. But the fact that you're here, that you're seeking answers, that means you survived. You went through a psychological war, and you made it out. That doesn't just make you strong. It builds a kind of resilience that is absolutely unbreakable.
For so long, you were a character in their story, forced to follow their script. But now you have the pen. You get to write your own story from here on out. The past is done. So the only real question left is, what do you want your next chapter to look like?